Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, today we're back with another Salty Batch Files episode, and yes, we have some more Hellblade 2 posts to go over, as well as some other fun little tidbits of information here. A lot of good receipts here, folks, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we do is we do have a lot of good examples here. Again, factual posts, a few receipts, stuff like that. But let's first start off with maybe a little bit of a new rumor that's been floating around. We're talking about the new Xbox system potentially being some sort of a PC hybrid type of deal. We'll see what happens there. But ultimately, let's get our good failed actor friend here, the fraud, the shill, Darius Fears, not a big fan of mine, as I do call him out often. Microsoft Xbox buying Valve for $16 billion would be great for gaming, no matter if you like it or not. Interesting. So, a quick tidbit of an example here was the ZeniMax acquisition great for gaming? So far, no. They didn't do anything to elevate ZeniMax or anything under the Bethesda elements or umbrella. With all the backing Microsoft has to give for funds and you name it, and resources, right? Nothing happened there. How about the ABK acquisition? Has that gone well for them so far? No. Like with many major acquisition, that has gone with a bunch of different layoffs. Again, none of their resources or financial help has helped them in any way, shape, or form. You do ultimately supposedly get the next COD in Game Pass Day 1. Congratulations. Hopefully the quality isn't affected any more than it currently has been. They're needing that money to come back, therefore they're releasing COD even on the PlayStation 4. Notice how it's not on the Xbox One. Interesting there. If that is different, let me know down in the comments below, but that's the last of the research I found. No examples for an Xbox One X or Xbox One version coming out, but there is a PlayStation 4 version, as 46% or so of the sales are actually coming from PlayStation platforms. But yes, more acquisitions for Xbox would be great, Darius. I'm sure it's doing wonders already, but let's keep going here. So the Helldivers 2 media, which seems to be kind of anti-PlayStation biased, but they are announcing, per videogamer.com, that Helldivers 2 is losing players at an alarming rate. But of course we have Ass Tall chiming in. Xbox port will be announcing soon then. Well, that was as of May 22nd, so when is soon? Is that within a few days, couple months, you name it? No, Xbox isn't going to help Helldivers 2 out much at all if it did end up releasing over there at all, but there are no rumors suggesting so. Contrary to popular belief and rumors started on the Xbox camp, that's not happening. Keep port begging and hoping for great games on your system, even after Hellblade 2 has been there. But again, like a fart in the wind, am I right? So let's keep going here. Kirk McGinn mentions, by the way, more likely a partnership to expand Microsoft's multi-plat approach, talking about the Xbox Next console possibly being some sort of a PC hybrid or Steam functionality in there. Wouldn't be surprised to see Steam on the next Xbox. Jez chimes in, 100% Steam is on the next Xbox. Again, as of May 22nd, he does state this. How many times does Jez have to be incorrect, or he just throws stuff at the wall? Again, if Steam is on there, it would be super interesting to see how that partnership would work, or how that launcher would work. There's a lot behind that to where anybody, the FTC or anybody else, would allow Microsoft to acquire Steam, Valve, all that stuff there. But if there was some sort of a partnership on there, it would be interesting to see. Again, it would support the theory of Xbox being more multi-platform going forward, but just giving you some hardware options if you choose to do so. But again, we're kind of going to have to see what happens here. Jez is really hit and miss, but it is interesting. He likes to back that up. We'll see if there's more egg on his face. He's used to that, as we can tell via this channel alone. Let's keep going here. The Black Viking. Hey, Tim. We've been having some discussions on the prospect of Microsoft partnering or acquiring Valve. What are your thoughts on this from a consumer standpoint? Also, from a competitor standpoint, thanks, man. So I love what Tim Sweeney says here. This is perfect. What? Oh, this is so good. I worry that the makers of Edge, Bing, and Windows Store might struggle with the concept of running a service people want to use. Smiley face. What a burn. What a burn. Egg on the face. We're just talking about egg on the face. You can't get any more, synonymous with that type of example than what you see right there. You love to see it, folks. You love to see it. The truth is out there. The delusion can't hide everybody from those blinders, essentially, if you know what I mean. But that's great. I thought this was probably the greatest thing I've seen in some time. But let's keep going there. Falco X, of course, coming back once again. Anyone giving Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 a score lower than 8 has no love for gaming. Yes, because just because a game puts you to sleep more than likely doesn't mean that they have no love for gaming. And also, other opinions out there do exist, believe it or not. And you know what? Just like your opinion, everybody's got an a-hole. Who cares? It's just, the consensus is it is kind of all over the board, right? With Hellblade 2. We went over that with the last video, but for him to make a bold statement so much, again, I'm going to bring up the Order 1886. Just because someone gave that a 6 or a 5, and they did, certainly they did, they're justifiably able to do so, and that's okay. Again, it doesn't matter if I thoroughly enjoyed the Order 1886, which I did. I enjoyed it for what it was, but again, I wouldn't give it higher than a 6 or a 7 myself. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it, nor would I ever make a stupid ass claim such as that below here, or as you're seeing up top here. But I digress. Let's keep going here. Niche Gamer, now they did a quick review on here. I wouldn't say quick review, but they did a review on Hellblade 2. We reviewed Hellblade 2, an unnecessary sequel. It's so boring, we fell asleep. Link below, and of course they put the link below. So search for them if you do want to look at that review. You want some more context, definitely search them up on Twitter, or I'm sure you could find them via YouTube as well, and look at that review, and I'm sure they go over why that game did put them to sleep, further supporting that the game is just that. And we wonder why there was not a lot of advertisement behind it. We wonder why there was a lot of nothing really behind this game. But I told y'all. I told y'all. It is what it is. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But super odd. But let's keep going here. This one's great here because Kareem, still looking for traction, wants something different. He has to try to make an appearance. He really wants to outdo Colt Eastwood here. So Microsoft wants to buy Nintendo. Now this, if you're not familiar with it, is a very old scenario. Microsoft tried to go have talks with Nintendo at least 2 times now in serious talks, and got laughed out of the building each time, basically saying, I don't think so. Not only is Microsoft interested in buying Valve, Steam, they also show huge interest in buying Nintendo if the opportunity arises, which they do. They've mentioned that many times, like I just mentioned now. They went down there a couple times. Clearly, they are serious about wanting to, but if they were able to ever do so, that's up for debate. Phil Spencer even talks about a, quote, tighter collaboration with Nintendo if possible in the leaked email, and states, Microsoft BOD member heavily acquiring shares of Nintendo. I really don't think they're going to have a great partnership. I'm sure they see, Microsoft floundering left and right. I don't know why anybody with any business sense whatsoever would want to partner with Microsoft, who's been floundering like a flopped fish out of water for hours. But in regards to hours, I'm talking about over 10 years, well over a decade. So interesting. Emails took place in 2020, which leaked last year. Of course, he's talking about the whole ABK acquisition and those leaked emails. Doesn't mean a damn thing. So I love how he keeps going with that. Now, the best part about that, and talking about shares, again, we have a little bit of a receipt here, don't we? We have one with an article stating Nintendo aiming to spend over $400 million on another share buyback, and this was similar to a move in August 2021. So they are going to continue to do that. They are not going to partner with Microsoft. All your hopes and dreams are done. They're going multi-plat more than likely. They are going third-party publisher more than likely as time goes on. We see this, you're grasping at straws. I say this every single video just about. You're grasping at straws. Nothing's going to happen. You guys did not support the games. Here you are. No matter what stuff you throw in the air isn't going to just make it happen. Just because you speak something into existence does not mean that's going to happen. They don't live in the reality. And at least they kind of know that. I truly believe they know that, but they do love to grift. They do love to spread the FUD. That helps create the sheep and cult-like favors of having those followers, right? But let's keep going here. Mike. Very true. However, to claim Hellblade 2 isn't a next-gen game when it is literally pushing the entire medium forward in many areas is just idiotic. What are we doing? What are we doing here? This is the ultimate walking simulator. Not to knock on Death Stranding, because that was, but in a lot more different, appropriate ways, right? With Death Stranding, this is literally a cinematic walking simulator. The only thing that it has to its merit, truly, is the graphics, is how good it looks. If that's your cup of tea, great, but let's put a little pause on the fact that it's literally pushing the entire medium forward in many areas. It's not. It's been in the making for 5-6 years. It's had a lot of funding behind the scenes from Microsoft because that was one of their first acquisitions when they were going acquisition heavy. They really wanted to support this. They really wanted to give them the reins. And that's the problem, is Microsoft likes to be a little too hands-off, in my opinion. That has since been the case, ultimately, through a lot of these other titles that have been coming out under their, quote, leadership. So, oddly enough. But let's keep going here. I'm just going to say JAP here. This is not a serious review. You cannot be subjective and give Hellblade 2 a 4 out of 10. Okay, the gameplay is quite slow, but everything else is top tier, pushing the entire industry forward. So again, we have another person just trying to echo the sentiment that it is pushing the industry forward. A 4 out of 10. If someone feels it's that way because it's boring and it's not their cup of tea, that is their review. 4 might be a little low even in my opinion, but again, I think there's been a few 4s on. Again, I'm going to bring up the Order 1886 because that's the closest resemblance, except for the first Hellblade, of course. They were expecting a lot more here. They did not deliver when it came to more nuanced gameplay, when it came to more of a game in general, right? They were expecting you could do a lot more. A lot of folks were thinking this could even go toe-to-toe with the gameplay and vastness of God of War Ragnarok, right? A lot of Xbox fans thought that would be the case. That's not the case. They expected more. You had the groundwork, you had the blueprints, and you had the funding to make Hellblade 2 so much more. It didn't happen, and there you go. Regardless of how good it looks, that doesn't mean pushing the industry forward. Just an FYI, let's come back down to reality, please. Now, what I want to give here, real quick, is the great Ryan McCaffrey. Another IGN alumni. Whatever you want to call him. I know I speak on Destin quite a bit, but Ryan does a lot of stuff here. I just don't always feature Ryan. I probably should have, but this is one of the great ones here. So just recently, Neil Druckmann had an interview come up where he talked with Sony in regards to that. So a little bit of context here. This was apparently spun out a little bit. He didn't exactly say what Ryan's going to say here, and Neil essentially addresses this later on Twitter or X. But regardless of that, let's go over this Ryan McCaffrey piece here. So Neil obviously has a heck of a resume, but saying Naughty Dog's next project could redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming just sounds arrogant at worst and setting unrealistic expectations for your audience at best. So a couple things I want to address here, Ryan, and to anybody else that agrees with that. You said it yourself right here in the same breath here. Neil obviously has a heck of a resume. He does. 100%. Also, aside from Neil, just the entirety of Naughty Dog and the culture, when did they really miss? for the most part, whether you like the game or not that they did release, they don't miss as a whole. That studio created before it went over to Activision, Crash Bandicoot the series, right? After that, we have Jak and Daxter as another example. The great Uncharted series, some of my favorite series of all time. And then, of course, The Last of Us 1 and Part 1 and Part 2. And then more, right? We have a lot of that there. So that should shut your pie hole right there, but nope. But again, I do want to state that Neil did address he didn't quite say that. If he did, I'm just backing up the fact that if he did, he does have the credentials to back that up. Whether you feel it's woke, whether his outlook, political outlook, whatever the case is, you have to respect the work, right? It's just there. As a gamer, you respect the work. Now, what's funny, Ryan, we got a little bit of a receipt here. Remember this one? This one back in December of 20? Remember also that when the initiative was set up, it pitched to prospective employees and job listings that it was making a quadruple A. 4 A's. A quadruple A game. So Perfect Dark is meant to be on the highest of high levels, budget-wise, and hopefully quality-wise. I like that it's not just a shooter. He goes on to state, let me hype Xbox fans up a bit more about this. The director on this game was also the director of Sunset Overdrive, and there's a lot of other talent pulled in from the deep well of dev talent in Santa Monica. Oh man, so pot calling the kettle black here, sir. You want to talk about hyping up? I mean, this is absolutely embarrassing. 110%. You're going to call out a simple quote from Neil Druckmann, and you yourself is trying to overhype a quadruple A studio, to which we now know, folks, if you're not in the know, the context behind this is they've been struggling. They've had to pull in all sorts of help from all sorts of different devs and all different kinds of companies as well. They're struggling. We still haven't heard a drop, a dime about this, but here we have Ryan McCaffrey. It's okay if Ryan McCaffrey does state that it's going to be the most amazing game ever, probably redefining, essentially not saying it word for word or verbatim, but he's lighting this up, right? He's lighting this up. It is okay to hype it so high because of their resumes and because of what they could bring to the table. Again, when did Neil miss? Love him or hate him. When it comes to the games, whether you agree with what happened in The Last of Us Part 2, and Lord knows I don't exactly. I think that could have played out differently, and I think it could have been a different trilogy looking out. But ultimately, it was a fantastic game when you look at it. It's their design. We're not designing that. We have to enjoy it as a consumer for sure. But you still can't look at The Last of Us Part 2 if you want to view that as one of the weaker entries and say that that was a bad game. It was far from a bad game. It was a wonderful game. I thought it was a great chapter. Looking back, it's the vision they had as a studio. It's a vision that he had, and it's a great game. But hey, let's keep hyping up a quadruple studio that keeps dropping the ball, and Xbox keeps dropping the ball. But let's keep pointing the finger at Sony, McCaffrey. Really well done job, and really shining a great positive note at the company you work for at IGN. Great job. Wonderful. High five to you, buddy. The hypocrisy kills me. Real quick, folks, I want to shift your attention over to a quick snippet of a video from the Act Man. I will put the link of the Act Man video down in the description below to check out the entirety of the video. I do implore you to do so. He has a lot of great points. Now, Act Man, to my knowledge, is a big PC guy. He's actually more Xbox-centric. So, first of all, go ahead and check this out.
Say it's not Xbox. This is Microsoft Gaming. Welcome to Microsoft Gaming. Would you like to purchase one entertainment product? And even Seamus Blackley, the creator of the original Xbox, laments this revelation as well. Today, Xbox is like an amorphous blob, an all-consuming void hell-bent on assimilating as many studios as possible to throw their games on Game Pass and then discard the studios. In other words, Majin Buu. Today, Xbox is a brand that can't see past its own nose. they can't see anything beyond immediate short-term gain because the Activision Blizzard acquisition was $70 billion. That is putting some eyes on Xbox and what they're doing. They need to start producing results. Xbox leadership is in a tight spot, so they're looking for short-term solutions, and they're sabotaging their own efforts to foster long-term successful IPs. You see, Microsoft has all these different studios that they've acquired, and they have huge pools of talent under their umbrella. But isn't it odd that a $3 trillion software company could have so much trouble creating software? Seriously, man, why is every single Xbox game I'm excited for delayed, rebooted, going through development troubles, or announced 5 years ago and then never talked about again?
All right, and so like you can see here, right? He pretty much hits nail on the head just in this short clip alone. The state of Xbox in general. Go check out the video. It's a great video. Again, down in the description below, but just wanted to leave you with that quick snippet there. And just the state of them as a whole. But we have these frauds and these shills out there trying to make it seem like everything's just fine. They're going to be great in the hardware business. Not a worry in the world. I can keep stacking up the evidence week to week as you continue to see, and here we are. What do you do? That being said, I appreciate everybody sticking around for the entirety of the video. Again, so much. And of course, if you haven't already, leave a like. Would love to hear from you down in the comment section below. Both those things do help out the algorithm for this video and helps get the word out and the channel out as well. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. I truly do appreciate that. We are working our way towards that 2,000 sub goal, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. And that being said, I do want to leave you with the fact that, as always, a reminder, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.